Hello friends, I have come up with a summary of The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. In the 19th century America, women were perceived as inferior to men. They were believed to be property of their husbands and had to remain dependent on them. In The Story of an Hour, events take place in the life of one such 19th century American woman, Liz Ballard, within an hour. As the title goes, it is a story in which all incidents happen within an hour. It is the story of one Mrs. Liz Ballard who suffered from a weak heart. Her sister Josephine took care of her. It was her sister who gently and hesitantly broke the news of her husband's death to her. Josephine's husband Richards had been at the newspaper office when the news of Bentley Ballard's death was first received. As it usually happens, that at the death of their husband, women become deeply sad and shocked with disbelief. But instead of behaving like the one in sorrow, Mrs. Ballard cried in her sister's arms for some time, but then went into her room asking to be left alone. Once inside the room, tired and sad, she sat on a comfortable armchair facing an open window. The mood outside the room was one of energy and joy. Treetops outside with fresh leaves looked beautiful, and the air carried the moist smell of rain. Someone was playing a song far away. Sparrows were singing their own song, and the sky outside looked beautiful with patches of clouds. Mrs. Ballard looked out blankly. The way she was looking did not reflect any deep thinking, but it seemed as if she was suppressing some thought running in her mind. It seemed as if she was eager to express a hidden desire for freedom, which had finally come into her life with the death of her husband. She whispered to herself again and again the word free. Suddenly she transformed into an energetic and happy lady. She wondered whether some perverted joy had gripped her. Mrs. Ballard knew well that she would cry again when she would see the dead body of her husband, who had been so loving towards her. But beyond that brief painful moment, she looked ahead to the years when she would be free to be herself and herself alone. She felt greatly relieved at the pleasing and promising thought of such freedom. She was relieved that she was finally free of her marital obligations, as she no more had to accommodate the will of another human in her life, something that marriage makes necessary. She loved her husband, but her newfound freedom gave her more joy. Feeling immensely delighted, she began whispering to herself, "Free, body and soul, free." She felt as if her body and soul became completely free from the compulsions of married life. Outside her bedroom, her sister Josephine was asking repeatedly to let her in. She was worried about the mental state of her sister, but Mrs. Ballard asked her to go away, assuring her that she would take care of herself. Inside, she was really in a pleasant mood, enjoying every bit of her freedom. Her imagination was running wild, painting pictures of happy days ahead when she would have complete freedom to do what she liked. She whispered a small prayer, urging a longer life. When she finally opened her bedroom door, feeling delighted, she danced out cheerfully, as if she were the goddess of victory. Clasping her sister's waist, she came down the stairs, where her sister's husband Richards was waiting for them. Suddenly there was a sound of someone opening the door. Behind the door, stood Mr. Mallard, who looked a little tired from travel. In fact, Mr. Mallard had not been at the scene of the accident and knew nothing about it. Richards worried that the sudden appearance of her husband would shock Mrs. Mallard and might affect her heart. He tried to get him away from her view, but it was too late. Mrs. Mallard was shocked to see her husband alive. She collapsed and died. When the doctors visited her, they declared that she died of heart trouble caused by sheer joy. The ending of the story is ironical. The doctors said that it was the joy of seeing her husband back alive that troubled Mrs. Mallard's heart and killed her. But it is well known that it was actually the joy of losing her husband and the sudden snatching away of that joy that actually killed Mrs. Mallard. The doctors were correct about the joy, but they were wrong about the source of that joy. So friends, here I come to the end of the summary of the story of an hour. If you have subscribed to my channel, thank you. And if you have not, and if you choose to subscribe, I promise that I'll be coming up with quality videos for you from time to time. And yes, I will keep my promise. Thank you.